Where do you see, because you're in academia, but you're also in the real world, where do you see the differences and what can you learn from each other that you can apply to business?
It's a great question. One of the things, and I may not have a very good answer for this, because a big part of this is my 25th year teaching in the grad school at SMU, and I'm very proud of that. There's, over 2,000 former students that I see have gone on to various success in places and things like that. But, I think part of why they continue to ask me to teach there is because what I teach is the real world. It is not academia, which is, by the way, a big push in academia is sort of the hands-on real world experience. We don't want the students to graduate and it's like, oh, we can do a discounted cash flow. It's like, well, yes, but what do you do with that? How do you make a decision around that? So that's what we see that, whether it's corporate America or anywhere else, that's what they want. That's something I've been doing for 25 years is, I tell my students, it's like, look, I want you to understand it. I want you to be able to do the math. But the reality is, I want you to be able to apply it. The application of this is really important to me, that when they get out, that they can answer the questions about whether it's investment decisions, entrepreneurial choices, things like that.
And then going down the same theme of this versus that, entrepreneur versus corporate.
I can speak to my own experience with that. Early on in my career, I was very entrepreneurial. I certainly mowed lawns and sold things door to door when I was young. I mentioned earlier, I'm a lifelong musician. One of the things I learned over the years is, back in the day, before clubs had PAs, somebody had to own the PA system. And I learned whoever owned the PA system controls the band, because the guitarist can leave, we can find another guitarist. But if the guy with the PA system leaves, the band's over. So I made it my point to save my pennies and to own the PA system so I had some control. Well, and again, this is mindset, Lane.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm 15 years old, and I'm going, we practice with this, but we get a gig a month or something. And meanwhile, I've got all this equipment I've paid for sitting there. So I could make a case that I was one of the very first professional mobile DJs. Because I'm like, if I hook up a couple of turntables to this, because back then everybody brought their stereo for the house party, right? And I'm like, no, I can bring like a PA system. And, and so that was one of my very early entrepreneurial experiences. I was like, okay, I love doing this and I can make decent money kind of doing that. So fast forward, a couple of early stage companies, and I finally got to a point where it can be a tough road, as you mentioned. I was like, man, I'm tired of being the last guy to cash my paycheck. I need some stability. I'm married. And so I joined corporate America, went and got my MBA from SMU. Great experience. Did that for about 9 years. And at the end of that, hung out a shingle and started Churchill Terry, which is now 30 years old at this point in time. And really for me, it came down to I couldn't turn the ship, no matter what I did. And I had a very successful career, within the corporation. And I enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the customers, I always enjoyed the clients, I enjoyed my peers, this kind of stuff. But nothing I did, this was a big public company. Nothing I did was going to really influence an outcome. And I missed that. I missed that from earlier in my career, when I had that opportunity, Lane. And I think that's what, I'll share this with you. I believe that entrepreneurs start the business to get the job they couldn't find. I do. Yeah. It's, all my career, I was like, I'm hardworking, I'm loyal, and, had some good opportunities along the way. And I kept looking for sort of that mentor, leader opportunity, and I never really found it. And ultimately, at Churchill Terry, it was just like, well, John, I guess you're just going to have to do this yourself. Yeah. And, this is 3 decades later. And it's worked out really, really well. I enjoy it.